Well, the doors are all finished with the high build and the sanding, so they're even where it's all hidden. It's all smooth and beautiful on both doors, and the upper window frame area is all dialed in nicely, and the outside super smooth, super straight, just loving it. So they're ready for final paint, so I'm going to wrap those up in foam and protect them for a little while, move them out of the way. And here's my current project. So this has got a metal frame that's been riveted in place. I've drilled out the rivets. I'm going to have to clean up the metal and paint it. It's a bit rusty, but the previous owner liked this idea of the lower trim of the car being solid black, and it was kind of a nasty paint, and it wasn't really adhering that well to either the metal body of the car or this urethane spoiler. So I tried this afternoon a little experiment with some chemical paint remover, and it does work. It's slow, but it does soak into the urethane and soften it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to really carefully sand it down, abrasively remove it without wrecking the surface. I do have some bumper putty, some flexible putty, 3M putty that I can use, and I will use. There's a bunch of holes that have been drilled here because he had a little spoiler extension, and so I'm going to fill those, and I'm actually going to put an flat aluminum plate that runs along the base. It's going to straighten out and stiffen up and provide better form to the lower lip area. And I've got it all welded around, a welded piece, so that it comes around the corner, and basically this whole area will then be absolutely straight. So I have a piece of 1/8 inch 1x4 aluminum that I'm going to trace out this shape, and then I'll have to cut the aluminum to the shape, and then I can fit it in there, and then adhesively attach it, and then I can fill all the holes and sand them all and get it all looking totally OEM original. Okay, that's it. So I got the last two key pieces of the body stripped and sanded down. So the sunroof is ready to go for some primer, and then this urethane spoiler is tricky, so that metal piece there was rusted a bit, and so I had to strip it and acid wash it and stuff. And the black is actually the primer, the original OEM factory primer, so the urethane, and then the primer, and then the silver. And I had this gloss black finish on the spoiler that the previous owner had put on. It was sort of a low quality, thickly applied black paint, sort of almost like it didn't cure. It was really rubbery. I mean, it had flex agent in it, which is probably one of the reasons why it behaved that way. But anyway, so I'm in the process here of building. I've got some 1x4 1/8 inch plate here, aluminum, and I'm going to cut it and shape it so that it runs in this inner lip here. And you can see the previous owner had this spoiler extension, and he drilled in all these fucking holes everywhere here. And so I'm going to use a 3M plastic bumper filler, and I'm going to fill those holes in as well. So I'll make this bracket. One of the problems with these spoilers, and it's like, it's just how perfect you want to make it, but sorry, the sunlight's coming in. Do it from the side here. If you look along the edge of this, I can dial this in and make all the edges pretty and sand it and everything, but the bumper itself, or the spoiler itself, the shape isn't exactly perfect as it goes around. It's when it mounts to the body will help it find its right shape, but one of the things I'm going to do is get the perfect lip on the bottom, and then I'll build that lip design into the aluminum, and then when I adhesively attach it to the urethane, I'll clamp it such that I get the right shape. So tricky as hell, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this friggin' car back on its normal right up side, mount everything, literally mount the fenders and get everything square on the front, and then I'm gonna mount this, and then I'm going to trace it and align it. So it's gonna be a bit of work, but then I'll have the front end looking the way I want it to. So that's what I'm up to now. So I've finished all the preparation of the bumper and cleaning, and I've got this 6061 aluminum channel that I've cut out of 1/8 inch material, and I'm gonna bond that in using 3M 1 inch wide double-sided adhesive tape, so I can pull it out later. And I've got these separate pieces that I'm going to adhesively attach to the these little supports, because they're, I don't know if you can see, but they bend over the years. They're not straight, and they don't hold the bumper straight. I was using the heat gun here to warm up the bumper. Initially, to get the bottom where the aluminum is absolutely flat, because it was a bit twisted. There were screw holes that had been drilled through that I'm about to fill in a sec, but that had distorted the surface, and also the curve running along here wasn't. It sort of went in and out a little wobbly, and I found that by putting heat on the back side until the temperature of the urethane got to about 200 Fahrenheit or 180 to 200 Fahrenheit, that it relaxed, softened the bumper, and then it allowed it to take its original form. It sort of like had a memory effect, the way metal sometimes does, where basically it found its proper shape. I had to push it a few times. I give it a little bit of assistance to find its original shape, and so it's now level across, and it's got the right subtle curve to it. And then of course when it goes into the body, when it's attached, it'll take the final shape. But I think we're in good shape here now, so I'm feeling good, and that little heat gun trick is the cat's ass for sure. So there's the 3M filler on the holes. Well, I got primer on the sunroof, and I can high build it tomorrow. And same thing here with the fender, the spoiler. You know, it's a bit wonky. The spoiler is such a floppy thing. Until I get the metal bracing back into it, it's hard to handle, because it just likes to a wet noodle just move around. But anyway, other than a few deep scratches that have shown through the first 2 coats of primer, the basic shape is looking good. And I got the plastic promoter, adhesion promoter on it, and then I got the epoxy, and you actually don't need the flex agent in the epoxy, but I will, when I do the high build, I will mix the flex agent into it, and then we'll see how it looks after some of that.